What if the richest person in your town drives a 12-year-old pickup truck and buys the cheapest gas station coffee every single morning? Somewhere right now, someone with an 8-figure net worth is standing in line at a discount grocery store, comparing prices on canned beans, and nobody around them has the faintest idea. This is not a story about luck. It is a story about a decision that most people never make. The decision to build wealth without ever letting it be seen. It starts small, almost accidentally. A person notices a self-storage facility near their apartment that is always full. Not glamorous, not exciting, just always full, month after month. They start asking questions. Who owns it? What does it cost to run? What does it actually make? They learn that a modest facility with 100 units, charging around $90 a month per unit, can bring in close to $100,000 a year, with almost no staff and almost no drama. People do not stop needing somewhere to put their extra belongings during a divorce, a move, a downsizing, a death in the family. Life produces overflow, and overflow needs a place to sit. That single realization becomes the seed of everything that follows. But here's what most people miss about wealth built this way. It rarely comes from one big bet. It comes from small, boring, repeatable transactions that compound quietly while nobody is paying attention. Behavioral economists have a name for the trap most people fall into instead. It's called the visibility bias, the instinct to spend in ways that broadcast success rather than build it. A new car, a bigger apartment, a designer wardrobe, these purchases feel like progress because other people notice them. But noticing is not the same as growing. Every dollar spent to look wealthy is a dollar that will never compound, and compounding is the only real engine wealth has ever had. The first deal is never the impressive one. It is a used car wash on a forgotten corner lot, bought for a fraction of its replacement cost because the previous owner was tired and ready to retire. It nets a few $100s a month after expenses, an amount that would not impress a coworker bragging about a bonus. But the person behind this deal is not measuring the money. They are measuring whether the machine works without them. Does it generate income while they sleep, while they work their day job, while they are nowhere near it? When the answer is yes, they do it again. And again. Not faster, not louder, just again. The surprising part is how ordinary the second and third stages look from the outside. A duplex bought during a slow season when nobody else was bidding. A small laundromat with equipment that still had a few good years left in it. A handful of vending machines in office buildings that other operators considered too small to bother with. None of it looks like wealth. It looks like a person quietly solving small logistical problems for other people and getting paid every time they do. This is the core lesson economists studying long-term wealth accumulation keep coming back to. Diversified, unglamorous, cash-flowing assets tend to outlast concentrated, exciting ones because boring businesses rarely attract competition and rarely make headlines that invite disruption. There is a psychological cost that almost never gets mentioned in these stories. As the portfolio grows, the person starts noticing something uncomfortable. The moment people learn what you have, they stop relating to who you are. A distant relative resurfaces with a business plan. An old friend hints at a loan. The temperature of every room changes the instant net worth becomes visible. Financial psychologists who study sudden wealth exposure describe this as a form of social risk. The fear is not losing the money, it is losing the ordinary relationships that made life feel normal in the first place. So the person learns to keep driving the same car, living in the same house, wearing the same jacket, not out of humility for its own sake, but because invisibility protects the version of life they actually want to keep. But this changes everything about how they treat the people they love. When a close friend comes asking for help with a struggling business, the instinct to simply write a check is strong, and financially it would cost nothing. But experience has taught this person a harder truth. Capital given to someone who has not yet built the discipline to manage it rarely fixes the underlying problem. It only speeds up the same mistakes on a bigger scale. So, instead of a check, they offer time. They sit down, go through the numbers line by line, ask the uncomfortable questions about margins and lease terms that nobody had asked before. It takes weeks instead of minutes. It is far less satisfying than solving the problem instantly. But it is the version of help that actually holds. Years pass this way, one unremarkable acquisition after another, one quiet reinvestment after another, until an ordinary Tuesday morning arrives when an accountant's routine email lands in an inbox, and the number at the top has crossed into territory that would stop most people's hearts. There is no champagne, there is no music, there is just a person standing somewhere completely mundane. A hardware store, a laundromat, a parking lot, holding a phone, reading a number that took over a decade of unremarkable decisions to reach. The feeling that arrives is quieter than triumph and steadier than relief. It is simply the recognition that the system worked exactly the way it was built to work, without applause.